Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Monday episode of Running Point on Ysn.com or Ysn's Facebook or Ysn's YouTube or Ysn's Twitch account, whatever you're watching on. Thank you so much for tuning in and starting your week off with Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartel. And Ty, we have an exciting day for us today. Some coaches we added last minute that have kind of popped on. We're starting to rattle off more basketball previews, and we've warned people that it's an ever-changing carousel. We are constantly in talks with coaches and constantly bringing them on. As of now, our schedule looks like this. At 12:15, we're going to have Jason Wise, the head coach of the boys program at Waterloo today. And then at 12:30, we will talk to Will Klusenik, the head coach of the South Range boys. Dana Bolish at 1, and that's what today will look like as far as live on the show.
Yeah, and you know what we're talking about too is that these coaches, what we were able to get just since Friday, the coaches that have been added to this schedule this week, these are all new too. Will Kluknik from South Range Boys, like you already mentioned. Sean Hammond from Brookfield Boys, we're going to be doing off air, and that's going to be premiering this week, probably tomorrow. And tomorrow, let me tell you, you guys are going to be stacked with coaches. Starting off the top of the show, we got Bernard Scott, Ursuline girls basketball coach. So check mark there too. We're going to have check mark on Ursuline this week, but we'll tell you on that one. But Ursuline, we'll have them. Stephen Procopio, Jackson Milton Boys. We just got him confirmed for 12:15 tomorrow. At 12:30 tomorrow, Dolph Carroll of Valley Christian Boys is going to be on. So first half hour of the show, 12, 12:15, 12:30, first 45 minutes, all coach interviews for you. And then we go into Kevin Heine, Lakeview girls basketball. But the ones that were added, I believe,
Also,
Procopio and Heine.
We also have an off-air interview tomorrow as well that we'll be debuting later in the week with TJ Furman, the head coach of the Jefferson girls.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, just added left and right. Tanisha Franklin's been added for Wednesday from East. So like we said, you never know when coaches are getting added this week.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Hold on. As Samuel Jackson says in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. So we're going to have a fun day on this Monday. We have some playoff results to talk about. And I want to start with Springfield looking super impressive against Columbia Station. They haven't missed a beat in this playoffs. And our own Anthony Romo got to catch up with Bo Brungard and Sean Guerrero after the game to talk about the Tigers' big win. Let's listen to first Bo Brungard's thoughts after the Tigers' win over Columbia Station.
Anthony Romo here with Bo Brungard, tonight's YSN player of the game. Bo, 25 carries for 245 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, also 69 yards through the air and another touchdown. What are some big takeaways from tonight's victory?
I would just say that from the very beginning, we just came out and we were very physical, and we just had a good mentality coming in. And I got all the credit to my O-line. They did a great job blocking, and I just had some big holes to run through, I guess. And I just run hard, and there's so many other guys around me who played great, and I just got to give the line the credit.
Third straight year going to the regional final. What makes this team different from the ones of the past?
I would just say that this team's we're really close. You know, this senior class, we've been playing for so long together, and we have a lot of experience, and we just know what it takes to get there. And now that we're finally here, I think we're going to have the mentality and the knowledge and the wisdom just to go all the way.
Bo Brungard, tonight's YSN player of the game. Anthony Romo here with Springfield head coach Sean Guerrero after the Tigers' 30-13 victory over Columbia. Coach, advancing your third straight regional final tonight, what are some big takeaways from tonight's performance?
For this, I'm just glad and happy that we handled the travel well and how good our kids played and adjusted. I mean, this is a little bit different from the past couple of weeks. It was a heck of a lot colder today. Kids came out fired up. I think we controlled the game. We just kept fighting and playing for four quarters.
Bo Brungard tonight, 245 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Just explain how much of a threat he brings to the game night in, night out.
Well, I mean, he's obviously a great football player. Our offense is going to go through him, so I'm just happy the way how he ends up playing, and the other players surround him. I still think a lot of credit goes to our guys up front. Those guys get a good push. There's times that he doesn't get touched, until 4, 5, 6, 7 yards downfield.
Some I wanted to touch on. You guys went into the stat guy a few times tonight. Vinny Woods had a couple of nice carries. How does it feel just having a fullback that can take the ball 7, 8, 9 yards down the field if need be?
Well, I think with that, it just shows the versatility of our offense. We can go 5 wide or we can go 2 back and be able to do things like that. It still comes down to the players that we have. The players that we have surrounding Bell, and I just think it makes it hard for us to defend.
Springfield 30-13 victors tonight over Columbia.
So that was our very own Anthony Romo, who does a fantastic job, not just calling the games, but getting interviews after. Catching up with Sean Guerrero and Bo Brungard after Springfield's 30-13 victory over Columbia Station, and a very impressive victory at that.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what? The big thing with Springfield, too, it started with Norwayne last week, honestly, is what it felt like. It's like all these big-name opponents in games that felt like when Springfield would go into them, you kind of bite your nails a little bit and your palms get sweaty. You worry about those games like Norwayne last year. Just a year ago, we know how close that game is. But like I said, and even Bo and we see Coach even is starting to buy into this team is just different. They've been there. They've done that. These games, you don't want to say that they don't mean anything to them anymore because, yeah, they're new teams and no team's the same. But a lot of these guys, they've been to the regional final. So the butterflies of being there isn't there for a lot of these guys. They're on a mission right now. And for a lot of them, they know this is their last shot at coming home with the glory. And they want to come in with the perfect run. And I'm telling you what, ever since that early hiccup that kind of, I think, humbled them and put them in check against South Range a little bit, this is a Springfield team that has refused to lose. And it's a defense that has been absolutely stunning since week 2 of the season.
And I'll tell you, I think their offensive line, I mean, we harp on it, but I don't think it gets harped on outside of our show enough. Their offensive line has made strides since that South Range game. That's one of the reasons why they lost that game. You watch the film, and the line was just making Bo Brungard improvise way too much. And you improvise against really good defense, you're easier to defend. And South Range kind of said, okay, he only has one option now because he's on the run. So that's what kind of happened in that South Range game. And then their offensive line was better in the Brookfield game, not their full potential. They were better. And then the Geneva game, they figured it out. They put it together. They worked as a unit. It was almost a completely new offensive line. I believe they lost 5 seniors off that offensive line from last season. So, when you're returning maybe 1 or 2 starters from last year, and you have to work as a unit. You can't have an offensive line unless they work as a unit. Everyone doing their own job. They put it together.
And you know what? The greatest thing about Springfield, too, and you talk about, and what Bo said, too, just how close they are. And you can see that, too. The chemistry is through the roof over there in New Middletown. And you know what? This is a team, like I said, they are full gear ahead right now. Division 6 regional final now, as the Tigers right now, unfortunately, the lone Division 6 team we have left, but they're on. They like I've said since the beginning of the season, it's destiny for the Tigers, and they have a date with destiny, and they feel like it's going to be down there in Canton, Ohio.
To get to their opponent, it is going to be, unfortunately, if you're YSN, it's going to be Mogador. But this was probably actually the most exciting game of the weekend. 2 teams that just could not stop each other because both offenses were executing a perfect game plan. Aiden Stevens and Devin Carter had a really good game. Went into overtime, tied up 42, and unfortunately, Mogador got that one defensive stop they needed. They really took LeBray out of their game in that first overtime possession. They held them to 0 points. It was like 4th and 18. LeBray could not go for a field goal. It was too far. So they just went for it on 4th and 18. They didn't get it. And Mogador went down and scored. Mason Williams, I believe his name was, from Mogador, 6 touchdowns. And his 6th touchdown was the one that capped it off. So he was an unstoppable force. Aiden Stevens and Devin Carter combined for 5 touchdowns. Stevens had 4, Carter had 1. They both had over 120 yards rushing. I believe Stevens was more in the 160 range, and Carter was more in the 120, 130 range. But yeah, they both lit off the world, and unfortunately for LeBray, that run defense that Coach Armini talked about, that's what kind of failed them.
Yeah, and Mogador's a great team too, and it's hats off to them. But now it's unfortunate because I think we were all deprived of that LeBray versus Springfield matchup that I think everyone wanted to see.
So close. I mean, LeBray was down 35-21. They came all the way back. We thought this was going to be it. I believe they led 42-35, and then the game got tied up. It was there. It was right there for the taking. We all thought they have all the juju. They have all the momentum right now. And then that overtime came. They got the ball first, and I was like, okay. But, I think there was a penalty, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and it backed them up a little bit, and it got them behind the chains. They couldn't recover from it. So that's the game of football. You're gonna lose games like that against close teams. Hats off to LeBray for a great season. It was great covering them all season. What an exciting team to follow. The 3-headed monster of Trayvon Drake and Devin Carter and Aiden Stevens were just put on a show night in and night out. Put on a show even though they lost. I mean, it was a show that they put on Saturday. And unfortunately, it will be Springfield and Mogador in this regional final.
Hats off to Mogador, but I mean, you really you kind of feel for them because you don't got an easy opponent coming up in the Tigers.
No, you don't, but it's a familiar opponent. These two teams have played each other in the playoffs plenty of times, and I believe this sounds crazy. I get it because Mogador just beat LeBray, but I feel like LeBray would have matched up better with Springfield than Mogador does, if that makes any sense at all. I mean, they're two different teams. They run two different styles, and I just feel like LeBray's style of play and the way they match up would have been a better game for Springfield than Mogador. I know that sounds like I'm being a homer because we're YSN and LeBray's a YSN thing, but if you really dive into the tape and you watch how Springfield plays and you just look at the one-on-one matchups, I just feel like LeBray has more skilled player athletes and Mogador relies more on just physicality, and we've seen Springfield be plenty physical this year and go up against physical teams like Western Reserve and some Sebring run heavy teams, and they've been able up to the task. So I really think that the LeBray's ability to spread them out would have helped them. I don't know how much Mogador is going to be able to spread them out and still use the run game to their benefit, but we'll see.
Springfield's defense is real though, and that's the difference maker. And I mean that's the difference maker in what Springfield did different than the rest of the 3 teams in LeBray, Mogador, and Columbia. That Springfield plays the best defense out of those 4, in my opinion. And what I've seen the last, Springfield's the best defensive team out of those 4, and that's going to be tough to beat when you have a team that could score plus 40 and it's so hard to score on.
We will continue breaking down playoff games as we go. Coach Wise coming on in about 30 seconds. We'll just go through the scores real quick, and then we'll break down the games later on in the show. But as far as the scores, in case you were living under a rock this weekend and weren't able to see the final scores for Friday night, Canfield lost to Chardon 27-14. Unfortunately, Canfield seasons comes to an end. West Branch got the prolific and exciting win over Perry, 26-19, a comeback win. They were down 13-6 at halftime.
Nobody is ready for West Branch.
42-38. Irish still have some magic left in that tank. They get a thrilling win. Ja'Kalen Irving with a 73-yard touchdown to seal that game for the Irish. And then you go to Saturday's games for football playoff. South Range, they got pushed really hard, and they found a way to win 15-12 over Garraway. Kirtland, they were slowed down by Garfield. They didn't win 38-0 like we've seen them win, but they still were just too much for Garfield, especially on defense. 25-7, the Hornets in Garfield's season. Springfield obviously won 30-13. JFK dominates St. Paul 35-7. You were there, Antoine Brown. He's a problem.
Yeah, he is. He's a real problem.
And Mogador won in overtime over LeBret 48-42. Soccer, state championship, Crestview fell to Grandview Heights. I had to remember that name. Grandview Heights 4-2. This was a game. Crestview was down early 2-0. They fought their way back. They equalized it early in the second half. And soccer is a funny sport. When you equalize it, you have all the momentum. Literally a minute later, Grandview Heights went down and scored a goal to make it 3-2. And that just took the sails out of Crestview's game. They ended up winning 4-2. But it just felt like at that moment, if Grandview doesn't score in that moment and it stays 2-2, Crestview has the momentum. They might be able to get another goal. Who knows how that game goes. But really good passing. As an insanely good dribbling move, by the way, to kind of juke out a defender. And Grandview went right down and scored really quickly. I don't think the Rebels were ready for a quick attack on defense. So, unfortunately for them, they fall in the state championship game, but nothing at all to hang their hats on. First team in Columbiana County to do that, first soccer team. I believe first Crestview team sport to go to a state championship. And, hats off to them for an incredible season, especially all the seniors that were a part of that team and led them there.
Yeah, no doubt. A very special season for Crestview as we give them hats off for an exciting season. As it was definitely very fun to be a part of.
They were the 6th seed in the district. They
went to the state championship.
Like sometimes, especially in the sports where it's voting, those seedings can be very, very misleading.
Yep, no doubt.
So as we continue on, that's kind of what happened over the weekend. This weekend, guess what? Basketball starts.
Yeah.
Do you want a scheduling update? Because South Range is going to host the West Branch versus Ursuline game on Friday night. The South Range versus Salem girls basketball game that was going to open the season has been moved to a date to be determined to kind of accommodate. They don't want two really big events going on at the same time. Parking would be limited, and it would just be chaotic trying to navigate all that. So to accommodate hosting the playoff game, South Range has moved that Salem girls basketball game to a date to be determined. And they'll still play each other. Don't worry. The Quakers and Raiders are still going to be on a collision course. It just will not be on Friday night as we originally were planned.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of scheduling things that are going to happen with basketball too.
Yeah, basketball gets crazy. Snow days and weather.
Yeah, we'll be expecting all kinds of movement in basketball season.
Like if we're going to go right back to Samuel Jackson in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, honestly.
Because that's what fall brings. Just a bunch of craziness and skid. Honestly, spring is too. Spring scheduling nuts because weather cancel stuff. Actually, it's probably even more nuts than winter because you might get like 2 or 3 days where it's like snow days. They have to cancel games. Softball, baseball, you get like games probably twice a week. Got to cancel it. Rain took away our field, whatever it may be. Got to cancel it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always stuff going on in spring as well. So
we have Mike DeVries popping in.
And probably as Coach Wise, he was. I think they were using Mike DeVries' room, but yeah, well,
Coach, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
We're doing good. For a minute we thought that you were Mike DeVries. We were like, oh,
we left his name up there in case I say something dumb. Everybody will think it's him.
Coach, I mean, no doubt we're looking at this team too, and it's going to be a very competitive MVAC. And looking at the team, you guys got some talent returning. Obviously, some guys departing. Kyle Shockley being the biggest one. We know he's over at Kent Tuscawaras. But what are some of the big names that you expect to be on this team this year, and some of the younger guys that you think are going to get some significant minutes?
Yeah, well, obviously Luke Simons was a starter for us last year. Averaged about 13 points a game. He's probably going to be our number one scorer. And Navarre Al-Hassan, he started every game as a sophomore last year, and he's really improved. We're looking for him to score a lot this year. And we have a couple of juniors, Anthony Potagil and Ryan Wise, who probably will be stepping into the starting lineup. Kind of undersized, but Anthony can really shoot it, and for Ryan's size, he rebounds the basketball pretty well. So we think, with those two added to the starting lineup, we have a chance to be pretty competitive.
Coach, after every season, coaches kind of watch the tape of all their games and try to compile a list of things they can improve on or things they want to grow on with. What are some things that you watched from last year and you kind of took the players that are coming back and said, these are some things we want to work on before this season kind of starts?
Yeah, for us, I think it's movement without the basketball. Over the past couple years, we had guys that, like Kyle, who could break you down off the dribble, and we kind of got stuck watching him a lot. And we don't have that guy this year, that can just break you down when things aren't going well and go get you a basket. So I think for us, moving without the basketball is going to be a big key so we can get everybody involved.
Looking at this Scarlet Tier 2 of the MVAC, I think there's no doubt that it's going to be a gauntlet to try to navigate through. So looking at your schedule, talk to me about how you think this is going to fare out with your boys and what the team kind of needs to do. You kind of hinted on it a little bit, but what the team needs to do to get a piece of that MVAC crown at the end of the season.
Sure. I think, for us, it's going to be getting off to a good start. We're going to be playing a lot of inexperienced guys who aren't used to playing at the varsity basketball level. And I think getting off to a good start, getting some wins early in the year against, some pretty good non-conference teams before you get into that conference play will be huge for us. Obviously, looking at our league, Springfield they return a lot of kids, and they're probably the favorite going into the year. But yeah, you're right. It's going to be tough to, compete night in and night out and get a share of that title.
Then when you look at the non-conference schedule and the teams that you'll be playing outside of that MVAC Scarlet Tier, who are some teams that pop up, and how well do you think this schedule will prepare you for the end of the season come tournament time?
Yeah, we were supposed to open with Garrettsville Garfield. That game got pushed back to the end of December because of their playoff run in football. But so now we open with Wyndham on November 30, and Marty Hill's teams are always well coached and prepared. So that's going to be a tough opener at their place. And then we pretty much play the entire PTC, Mogador, Ritztown, Southeast, Lake Center Christian. So our non-league schedule isn't, there's no gimmies in any of our non-league games looking at the schedule. So, we're going to have to be ready to compete on night one and, every night going forward.
Out of those younger guys, you talk about Luke Simons, you talk about Al Hassan, and you know what? I seeing both of these players too last year, I thought they were very good raw talent wise, and I think Al Hassan especially was a very good passer, very good shooter for what he was able to do as a sophomore. Talk to me a little bit about the growth that you've seen from these guys over the course of the summer, and what's kind of impressed you most about their growth and the team's growth in particular.
Yeah, for both of them, it's kind of a change. They've been, like last year, they were the second, third, fourth guys on our team scoring wise. And this year they're going to have to step up and be 1 and 2. Looking at Luke, he's always had the talent to go get you 20 points a night. And now he's going to have to do that on a consistent basis for us. With Navarre, he played a role on the team last year where he didn't have to be the man. And watching him over the summer and so far in the season, he's really stepped into a leadership role, and his skill set is really good for, a junior. And really think we're going to get big things out of Navarre this season.
Coach, Ty knows more than anybody probably at YSN how much the Waterloo community loves their basketball. How excited are you to kind of welcome back all the fans and be able to feed off that crowd in that Waterloo gym?
Yeah, everybody's ready for basketball season, that's for sure. I got introduced as the volleyball coach during a game, so I think everybody's pretty ready for basketball. But it'll be nice having people back in the stands and let our kids get to showcase their talents a little bit in front of people. We didn't have that last year, and kids kind of feed off of that energy that the people bring. And without it, it was kind of weird last season not having that energy in the gym. So I think our kids are really excited to have people back, have the student section back in the gym.
I've always said the culture of Waterloo is so unique too, and their love for basketball and those teams is out of this world. And Coach, talk to me a little bit about the culture of the team too, as we've talked with Coach DeVries before too, and he says that these boys are different too, and the culture of Waterloo, boys and girls, is different. So talk to me a little bit about the culture of the team and what it means to be a Viking at the end of the day.
Yeah, the kids kind of buy into what we're selling. And we went through some rough years here, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I think over the past few seasons, having some successes really kind of brought some of that culture back into the program. The kids want to be in the gym. When the football team decided to play 2 regular season games, after week 10, the football kids pretty much were coming to basketball, trying to stay in shape for those last 2 weeks of football, but also get themselves prepared for the start of the season. And, I don't want to say that we haven't missed a beat, but the kids are excited to be back. And, they talk a lot about getting back to a district championship and competing to win championships. And I think that goes a long ways for your program when you're talking with younger kids and they're kind of already starting to buy into that.
Coach, we always ask what coaches want to teach their players, and I'm sure we'll probably ask that as this interview goes on. But I want to know what kind of things over the years have coaching students at this level taught you and helped you grow in as a person?
Yeah, I think commitment, first and foremost. The winter sports seasons are really long, and you have to practice on some days that other sports probably wouldn't have to. So for us, we talk a lot about commitment and responsibility, and how that leads to when you get out of high school, the commitment, responsibility when you get into the real world and have to start dealing with things on your own. So I think that's probably where we start is just the commitment it takes to play, high school basketball.
Looking at what your staff brings to the table too, I know Waterloo always gets some of the best people on their staffs as well. So I want to give you the opportunity to shout out your assistants and some of those big proponents, as well as second part of the question, one of those things that you guys try to teach your student athletes that is outside the world of basketball.
Yeah, John Herchek was a coach here. He was my head coach when I was in high school. And he was the head coach here for maybe like 34 years, something along those lines. So he brings a lot of experience to the coaching staff. And when he decided to come back to Waterloo as my assistant, it was, one of the best days I've had as a coach. Just the commitment that he makes to being here every day and the sacrifices that he makes outside of the gym so he can be here every day. I think that goes a long ways when you're talking about the things we just talked about, the commitment and responsibility part of it. Just having his consistency here is huge for me and the kids. And Caleb Francis, who was a great player for us a couple years back, is going to be our JV coach this year. And he does a great job with the kids. He has a lot more patience than I do when it comes to trying to teach the kids how to play and get them ready to play varsity basketball. And, he's young enough that he can have a relationship with those kids. I hear him talk all the time that they play video games together online every night. So that's a big help, having a kid that can have those types of relationships with the kids outside of basketball, and the kids really enjoy having him around. As far as outside of the gym, we do try to teach them about the real world and what it's going to be like when you graduate, and not to waste your time in high school. Wish your time in high school away, I guess I should say, because there's going to come a point where you're going to wish you were still back in high school and had the high school athletics. And I think our kids kind of understand that, and they do push themselves to be successful because of what's going to come after high school.
Coach, thank you so much for your time today and helping us kind of preview Waterloo's boys basketball season. We look forward to covering you all year, and we know that we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Jason Y is the head coach of Waterloo boys basketball. We go from him and we hop over to South Range, and we talk to the head coach of the boys program over there, Will Klusenik. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on Running Point.
Absolutely. Great to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Coach, as we like to start off with all of our teams, we like to start off with a Meet the Team segment. So talk about a little bit of what you lost, what you're bringing back, and some of those big name players that you expect to be along the way during the course of the season, as well as maybe some younger guys that you think might have an impact this year as well.
As I'm trying to fill out all of these previews for I'm probably trying to figure out that myself as well. The success team right now is putting us a little bit behind the eight ball. We probably 10 or 12 guys that are still on the football team, and hopefully I don't see them for a couple of weeks right now. But we do have years out right now. Zach Smith, Mark Naples, sophomores that we've been working with right now are Logan Baxter, some of the freshmen that we've been working out. We've had about now. So, we're just trying to get better each day. We have against Lowville and Lisbon. So, right now we don't have our full contingent. So we lost a lot from last year. Mikos, Nate Brown, Eli Taylor, Mikey Perry, were in the system for a while. And this being my first year, we've continued what Coach Cullen had established for the last 8 years. And we need to we keep moving forward.
Coach, it is your first year, but you've been on staff, so you kind of have an idea of what you have and what the players can do and what skill sets you have. What kind of advantage does that kind of give you going into the season, especially like you said, with the success of the football team? You're coming in, you still kind of know the skill sets and should at least know kind of what style of basketball you want to play this year.
Lost you a little bit.
Glitch gremlins on the. Can you hear us, Coach?
Are the returning? Yeah, Shane was hurt though all of last year. Got this year as well. So we've got some guys, like I said, from that football. I heard Jay Krause is coming out. Shane will be out. We've got Joey Plunkett as well. Landon Moore will be out as well. And like you said, I had a lot of those guys at the J. Obviously, there's a lot more, but definitely excited those guys and really start as far as making sure that we're playing very team basketball and great defense.
Coach, looking at the schedule, no doubt the NE8 is going to be a gauntlet to try to work your way through. Talk to me a little bit about the schedule you're going to have in front of you and how you think it's going to prepare you for the tournament.
Well, the NE8 is always bottom. You know, it always starts with Poland and Struthers. Those guys have definitely been the top in the year. But, you know, any single night as far as Gerard, you know, Jefferson, Hubbard, it's going to be a gauntlet going through there. And we've got to prepare ourselves for that. Our non-legal is pretty tough. We had a mix-up with Canfield this year, so we won't have them. We picked up Southeast. We picked up. We still have West Branch. We picked up. We're going to play in Salem tournament against a very good Neshannock team. So those will also prepare for postseason. That's ultimately where we want to be. Is the post ready to go? We'll obviously be a little bit behind, you know, in December, but you know, we've got guys that and are ready to chomping at the bit here.
You know, hard to imagine this program is still looking for their first district championship in the program's history. What kind of things do you think you guys can do or need to do to if you want to get to that final mountaintop and win a district this year?
Us winning a district title, you know, it cliche, but it's kind of coming in every single day with a winning effort. You know, trying to execute. You know, getting better. Just got to make sure that you know this is what we did positive, this is what we did negative, and move on and continue to grow. And we're playing our best basketball by the end of the season. You know, and I think if you know, can play different styles. You know, I always referred to Coach Grisdale when he played. You know, he was able to play as far as, you know, playing up tempo. He could play in the half court. He could press you, zone. Coach Titus always talks about dancing in the rain. You know, are you able to execute down the stretch when the game's on the line? You know, and taking your time. So again, it's just really getting better at you know, getting our guys prepared, playing any different style, and I really think we could compete this year. But for a district, and that'd be great to get the South Range boys basketball on the map with a district championship.
Coach, my final question for you. We like to always do a meet the staff question too, and we know South Range always gets some of the best. So give you a chance to shout out your assistants and some of those other big proponents inside the South Range basketball program.
Okay, you know, as far as the coaches are concerned, we have assistant coach TJ Irons. He's been with the program for a long time. You know, was coach and that's not going to be any different with me. Knows the ins and outs of what we're trying to do, and he's going to be a big help for me this year. A guy that you are familiar with us will be our 9th grade coach, and he's going to help. He's been helping me tremendously right now. Is Chris? It's his first year here. He's doing an unbelievable job for us. And then at the middle school levels, his first year, and Chase Booms will help us out at the middle school level. One's going to have a lot of moving parts. Guys are going to be helping at all different levels. But we've got a good staff, and we're
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to help us kind of preview South Range's boys basketball season. We know it's going to be a good one. We can't wait to cover it, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
for having me on, guys.
You got it, Coach. That was Will Klusenik, the head coach of the boys basketball program at South Range, joining us on Running Point. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. What a great conversation we had with him, and we continue our basketball previews today with those two coaches that we had. We have another one off the air, but we'll be airing that one tomorrow with Brookfield boys. But Ty, we still got a lot to talk about. Dana's coming on at 1. We're going to take our first break of the day, and we'll be back after we pay some bills on Running Point, brought to you once again by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig, joined by Ty Bartell on this wonderful Monday afternoon. A little cold, but it's sunny, and we're all feeling good coming into this week as we have more playoff football to talk about. Let's dive into some of these games. We briefly went over the scores. Ty, do you have any big surprises from this weekend that you thought this game would go this way and it didn't? You thought this team would win, it didn't. They didn't. What was your biggest kind of surprise of the weekend for playoff football?
Mine, a lot of them actually went the way I expected. I would say the biggest surprise was just how low scoring the South Range Garraway game was. I felt Garraway was going to be able to keep this one close, and I did not think that South Range was going to be able to blow them out like they've been opponents all season. Just looking at what Garraway's done, and I mean 11-0, you got to respect that. I was just surprised how low scoring that game was. I thought it was going to be close, but I had no idea that both teams' defense was going to be as big as it was in that game.
Yeah, when you look at that game and you watch it, and once again, we thank everyone that purchased that game for $9.99 that night and all the games on the network. It was one of those ones where both defenses came to play really well. South Range's offense, I don't know how to describe it. It just didn't look itself. I think DJ and Chris brought those up really well in the broadcast. I would have liked to see them use a little bit more tempo. I thought they huddled up too much, and they were just kind of, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but methodical might be the word. And sometimes methodical is positive, but in this case, Garraway forced them to drive down the field and not have. There were no chunk plays, like there were no huge pass plays from Billy Scurpack like they're used to getting. They pulled the Kansas City on South Range where they just said you're going to go the length of the field and you're going to do it in little chunks and you're going to have to go 12 plays to get a touchdown. So
and it can get irritating for offenses that are used to those big plays.
And it opens more possibilities to make mistakes. If you make a team go 13 plays, odds are somewhere in there they're going to have a penalty or a turnover or something go wrong where you can take that drive and deal with it. So Garraway did a really good job limiting the big plays from South Range and making them inch down the field. But when it mattered most, South Range made the plays necessary and got the win.
And you know what? Another thing I was impressed with, too, on the other side of Division 5, hats off to Garfield. I think they played Kirtland very, very well. Very well.
There was a point in that game, the first couple of drives were defensive stalemates. And then Kirtland hit a field goal. It was 3-0, but Garfield they love running up the middle so much, and you just cannot run up the middle against Kirtland. It's just
And now Kirtland is going to probably come with that same sort of mentality on defense that Garraway did against South Range. So you might see another low scoring where you have to get a lot of plays underneath.
It's Coach Yeagley can't watch the Garfield tape for Kirtland. He has got to watch something because how they defended Garfield is not how they're going to.
Yeah, that's not that. I mean, that's not. But I'm talking about Kirtland's tape defensively, looking at South Range. I think Kirtland, you could probably expect them to come out with the same sort of mentality defensively of not allowing the big chunk plays. And if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to inch down the field. Because I think that's gonna lead a little bit to if it's low scoring, it could be a stalemate then.
Interesting though, because last year, and both these teams are pretty similar to last year's roster.
Yeah,
this game was full of chunk plays for both teams. Like I think both teams were so committed to stopping the run that it opened up, boom, chunk play, chunk play, chunk play. I mean, Kirtland was throwing the ball down the field like it was their job, and so was South Range, and that's what made that game exciting. It'll be interesting to see how both these teams approach this round of the matchup, since they both seen each other last year. They know a little bit more of what it's about. It'll be fun to see how this one develops compared to last year's. It's hard to defend the team that can do both. They can be methodical and drive the ball down the field, but can also hit you for big plays.
I think, too, if you want to look at anything from that Garfield tape, though, look at how Garfield played defensively against Kirtland. And I think Garfield executed very well against Kirtland the entire game.
A couple of missed assignments for the run game that led to big plays. But other than that, Garfield played a really good defensive game.
The team was really good.
But what I think also hurt Garfield, and this is just I think they got away from the run game too early. You saw them after like 3 drives where the run just wasn't working. They started to try to pass the ball a little bit more than they're used to. I get it. Swagonski threw for 1,000 yards this year. Like, okay, props to him. But a lot of those 1,000 yards came in the situations that really dictated we're going to pass for Garfield's offense. I thought they got away from their game plan a little bit too fast, and that kind of hurt them because once Kirtland forced them to pass the ball in passing situations, it wasn't good. It didn't go well for Garfield, except for that one throw they did make to score the touchdown. That was a dime. That was a dot. Some people call it a dot. That was a dot to the flat for the end zone for the touchdown.
As you look in Division 5 now, too, I don't know. I mean,
everyone wanted, right? It's what everyone wanted.
It's what everybody wanted. The thing that kind of, I mean, looking around the state, there's some other great teams in Division 5, but South Range might be the best chance at knocking Kirtland off in this playoffs now.
It's AP1 versus AP2.
Yeah.
Like this, in a perfect world, this would be a state championship because it's 1 and 2 in the state playing each other in the AP poll. It's not how it works. They're both in the same region, and this is how it's going down. You look at the rest of Division 5, though. A lot of the teams that were in it last year aren't in it anymore. Ironton is out. No more Ironton in Division 5. They've been there for the last 2 years. I believe Glandorf is there. Wheelersburg, a team that's really known for their baseball and softball, kind of there in their football. Versailles, another program that's known for their basketball. They're in there in the football regional final. So a lot of kind of new blood in the Division 5 scope of things if you look around the state.
Yeah, and you know what? It's going to be really exciting, too. And we know they're going to be when everything gets redistricted, too, and we get new divisions, that'll be interesting to see which teams move in and out, too, because there's a lot of schools that are right on the brink. But, yeah, this is going to be a great match of South Range and Kirtland.
Division 6 is just shaking because South Range is a couple of kids away from dropping out of Division 5.
Yeah, if they go to Division 6, that's going to be a problem.
The other interesting thing is, and DJ, on senior night, I think that for Springfield, every team in the MVAC celebrated senior night.
Yeah.
But that's all about next year. Let's focus on this year still because we still got teams, and we're guaranteed a team in the state semifinal because Ursuline and West Branch both took care of business.
Nobody is ready for West Branch.
Both in exciting, thrilling fashion, and here comes this clash of the titans of two unbelievable offenses, two defenses that can be suspect at times, but also have proven time and time again that when you need them to make big plays, they make big plays. A goal line stand won that game for Ursuline. They were dead in the water. They threw a pick. They were down 38-35. It looked like who were they playing? Give me a. It looked like Glenville was supposed to score again. It was set to be 45-35 with less than a minute to go. It was over. It was like that. Put the nail in the coffin. It's done. Ursuline comes up with a goal line stand, 4 straight. Boom, boom, boom. We're not letting you down. And then they start their drive at the 1. They move up to the 20, and then Brady Shannon hits Jacqueline Irving for a great catch and run. The throw was maybe 15 yards. The rest of the run, Jacqueline Irving was just being his special self and getting for the touchdown. So Ursuline, what can you say? They find ways to win. They're a winning football team because they make winning plays. That was the knock on Warren Harding all year. And it's the knock why I never picked them, other than they're not a YSN school. If I wasn't doing I still wouldn't really like to pick them because they really struggled all year making those game-winning plays. Ursuline does, West Branch does. Something's got to give.
Yeah, and especially in this one, I mean, there's been chinks that have been found in Ursuline's armor that they've shored up, but there hasn't really been one that's been found in branches.
Turnover bug almost killed them. Like, that's what gave Glenville the ball back and the chance to end that game. A fumble that they gave Glenville the ball. And 9 times out of 10, that comes back and you lose that game. Their defense made a really good plays.
And I'm still kind of surprised because it seems like a lot of people that I've been hearing from, the consensus they still think is that Ursuline is a heavy favorite because they think they have the more playmakers in this one. And I mean, I know a lot of people down in the valley don't know West Branch maybe that well, but if you need to be introduced to some West Branch playmakers, Drew DeShields, Stephen Mara, there's plenty of playmakers in West Branch. There's plenty in Ursuline too. This is going to be loaded with playmakers.
Ursuline's going to be the heavy favorites because one is just the name. It's Ursuline. Even if Duke's having a down year, they're the heavy favorites in every basketball game they play because they're Duke. It's the same
Yeah.
kind of thing with Ursuline. And here's the way that last year's game went. It ended close, but Ursuline kind of had that game in hand before they let West Branch rattle off, a couple of scores late and make it interesting. So you could argue that Ursuline was really dominating that game last year. Both rosters very similar. Obviously, new quarterback for West Branch, but doing the same thing Brock Hilliard did. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Being played in South. Excuse me, got the hiccups a little bit. Being played in South Range.
This is gonna be a fun matchup too, and I mean everybody that's a playmaker in this one is gonna shine. There's so many. You talked about Kylan Irving, Dean Boyd, Marcus McElroy, Brady Shannon on Ursuline's side. I mean, there's plenty of playmakers in this, and we are guaranteed someone in the state semi.
So we started talking about Division 5 because we had Springfield before that interview span, but we cannot leave out JFK. You called that game. My word, that did not look like a regional semifinal matchup. That just looked like we're playing some rinky-dink we're playing this rinky-dink JV team, and we're just going to – I mean, it was JFK's game from the time they got off the bus.
How about the number 4 seed Dalton beating number 1 seeded Lucas too? So both the 1 and 2 seed fell. So it's a matchup of 3 and 4 in the final.
I don't know if Lucas had a bad game or if Dalton was just that good that night. But, man, if the doors are opening for JFK, they're opening really wide.
And you know what, though? I mean, first off, hats off and credit to Norwalk St. Paul and the Flyers because I thought they played pretty well offensively as far as the game plan was concerned. I thought they controlled the clock like you need to against that JFK team. If you have time and possession won, you're doing something right. But honestly, what it came down to was JFK they bent, but they did not break on defense all night. They let you cross the 50. They didn't let you in the end zone but one time. So, I mean, bent but did not break on defense. And offensively, big chunk plays. And, I mean, whether it was Michael Morrow breaking it off or Antoine Brown that had a hat trick +1 and a bunch of big plays going in. And then, of course, Caleb Hadley, the sophomore quarterback that is a giant, stands at 6'3", I think 220. He was able to get some rushing yards in, and JFK looks good for years to come, but this is a really fun team this year, led by seniors like Antoine Brown.
Got us asking, what can Brown do for you? Well, he can do a whole lot, and he'll deliver packages all the way to the end zone. 9 in, 9 out. He's come on. I feel like he wasn't a big name in this offense the first couple of games. And then he had the big game that got him on the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. I can't remember what week it was because it's all washed away by now. But there was a week where he had a huge monster game. They got him on Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley nominees. And then from there, it was just like Antoine Brown, boom, 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 boom. And he's been killing it ever since. Good luck stopping this kid.
They passed only 3 times that night. And it's not that they can't pass. They do have a pretty solid passing game when they do elect to utilize it. But when the run game's working like that and the defense, I mean, you could just see the size mismatch going into it was staggering, and JFK was way bigger than the Flyers, and that was a huge advantage right out of the gate.
And let me put something out there. Then we'll take one more break. We'll get Data Balish on the air, and we'll talk to him on this Monday edition of Running Point. I think JFK, when you compare them to last year's team had better skill players. They had Cam Hollabaugh. It was this year's team just looks like a better unit. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know if you agree. If you don't, you can leave a comment and tell me I'm wrong. But this year's team just looks like a better team in all caps, and team italicized. No disrespect to last year's JFK team. Obviously, they were special. They went to the state championship game. They were elite.
I think getting there, though, was the big thing, and why you're seeing, because a lot of those kids that were on that team are on this team still. And, I mean, yeah, you lose big names like Ham Hollabaugh, but, I mean, I think getting there and then a lot of those kids going to the state championship and winning it in baseball, I think it's just getting there and getting familiarized with the culture of being a winning team and going to that big game. I think I think kind of the nerves are settled. And like we said, the same thing with Springfield. I think that's what you're seeing from JFK. It's that maturity of that been there, done that mentality now.
All right, we will take a quick break. We'll get Dana Ballish on the phone, and we will be talking to him next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-res futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig here, joined by Ty Bartel, and we'll also be joined on the phone lines from Dana Ballish, the sports director over at TV21. Dana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Good afternoon, guys. Hope all is well.
We are doing well, and we are ready for these regional final matchups that we have after a great weekend of weekend playoff games. What were kind of some of your takeaways from the regional semifinals and the final scores that we saw come across?
Well, I think on Friday, I kind of thought the Perry-West Branch game would go back and forth as it did. I mean, West Branch was down by double digits, 19-6, and, they were able to battle back, and I thought that was a good win for them. I think Ursuline going up to Euclid to take on Glenville, I mean, they get a late stop and then a late touchdown to get the game, to get the win again. Scoring more than 40 points. So, the Ursuline West Branch game for this week, I think the big question is Ursuline's defense. Will they be able to slow them down? I mean, in the game last year, Ursuline won 38-31. I would expect a similar game. I think the surprise, the entire weekend, and I don't mean surprise, I guess that just maybe opened some eyes was, did Garraway have a blueprint now, or is there a blueprint out there to contain South Range? I think, no one really gave Garraway a shot in that game. I mean, they were a pretty good football team, actually a real good football team, and, led for some of that game. And I think just, the 15-12 score may have opened some eyes. Mogador beating LeBray with Mogador's best player out for the season. Matt Adorney made some changes, moved a tight end to fullback or running back, and that paid off. I thought LeBray, stacked up pretty well against Mogador. Really thought they would win the game. Springfield went on what they usually do, so I'm not surprised. I mean, look, we got 4 teams left. 4 teams left, or 5. Am I right? 5 or 4?
I think it's 5. JFK,
5,
South Range.
Yeah. So 5 teams left. 4 of those in Mahoning County. So, I thought, it was a pretty good weekend, from that standpoint.
And you look at these the sites for the regional finals, all of them are pretty localized. I think the furthest one from our coverage area, maybe Marlington over in Alliance, where JFK is going to be playing. But all these sites kind of favor our local teams. And I know you keep harping on it; they'll play in a parking lot, but it's got to be a little bit nice that our local area is going to be featured in these regional finals.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday, and I says, actually for the regional finals, we have to travel less than we did last week, and that's unusual. And in the times that I've been doing this, usually, you start out local, go, a little bit out of the way, and for the regional finals, a little bit more out of the way. But Marlington's the furthest trip. I mean, the game at South Range, with Ursuline and West Branch. Niles, South Range, and Kirtland. So, we are blessed. And if, fans want to get out and see a game, they certainly have that opportunity then.
What do you think is going to be going on with this West Branch Ursuline matchup? I feel like both the 4 and 5 matchups people have been talking about for a while in this local area. Everyone kind of expected Ursuline and West Branch to meet each other, and then everyone kind of expected South Range and Kirtland to be on a collision course. How do you expect these two games to go? Do you think Ursuline will step up, or do you think West Branch has the playmakers to keep up with them? And then do you think South Range can kind of solve the puzzle that Kirtland has been for the last 3 or 4 years?
I think, the Ursuline South Range game, at least what I look at is Ursuline's defense. They really haven't been able to slow anybody down. I mean, let me put it, they haven't been able to stop anybody. Maybe slow them down may be the right terminology. Does West Branch have the weapons to continue that trend? I mean, I think we'll find out Friday. I think, South Range has the personnel to knock off Kirtland, but Kirtland is very good. They're one of the best overall programs in the state, regardless of division. They have to play. I think what South Range has to do is, I think they have to try to they have to slow Kirtland down. And I think that's been the key over the last couple of years. They've been unable to do that. They played in the playoffs the last 2 years, and Kirtland's been victorious. These two programs are very similar. I mean, even going to their coaches were both, mathematics teachers, higher math courses. Coach Yegley's retired now, but, Tiger is still doing that at Kirtland. So I know they've exchanged, math tests, and that sort of thing. But I think it comes down to, look, if South Range can slow Kirtland down, and the only question I have is, what did Garraway do? I mean, Tiger's a pretty good coach. He's going to look at what Garraway did and try to implement that as well. If I guess if I would have said South Range, rolled over Garraway, but there was a little chink in the armor there. So, and Tiger's too good of a coach not to notice that. So, this was going to be a good football game. I mean, it's anyone's game.
I think it was. I mean, watching that Garraway game, I think it was pretty simple. I mean, easier said than done. But Garraway just simply took away the big plays of South Range and made them go down the field and drive play by play. You make a team have more plays in a drive, there are more chances to make mistakes. I mean,
and again, I just think that's the key. I mean, JFK did that against St. Paul. Took away their big plays, and that was evident with the 35-7 win. Look, at the beginning of the season, Anthony, I said the 3 teams that have the best shot of going to the finals, in my opinion, were in no specific order, were JFK, Ursuline, and Springfield. South Range is still there. West Branch is there now. So, to have, 5 teams, playing for regional championships, that's not too shabby.
All right, now as we move on, the basketball season has started for YSU, and the women are home tonight. So what kind of excitement have you felt around the area for fans to be able to be back at the Bigley Center for an open gym and be able to cheer these teams back on when they're home in the Bigley Center?
Well, I think, that's the most important thing. Fans haven't been there in a year. They just want to get out and watch some basketball. I mean, how good these teams are going to be, I think the jury's still out. The women had a nice win over Eastern Michigan. Just don't know how good Eastern Michigan's going to be. I mean, they play Akron tonight. The men had a win over Southeast Missouri State on Saturday. Again, now they play in their tournament this week that they're hosting at Bigley Center. I mean, the non-conference games, I know it gets you set for the Horizon League and the conference schedule. But it's so hard to get a beat on these teams after a couple of games because you just don't know how good the competition is and that sort of thing. So I think the jury's still out. I think, look, basketball, diehards want to get into a gym or into an arena and watch basketball, and they have that opportunity, not only tonight but this weekend.
All right, Dana, before we let you go, like we do every week, I want to give you the chance to kind of promote what's going to be on the airways this week for WFMJ Sports and what fans should be expecting out of your coverage this week.
Well, Mark Porter from Scotting, Ohio will break down the Ursuline West Branch game and South Range and Kirtland. We'll also have an update on Troy Hill, the Youngstown native for the Browns, who was released from a Boston hospital today. YSU will hear from Doug Phillips as they get set for their regular season finale and the season finale tomorrow. Also, then we'll preview some of these local regional games and get everyone set for a big weekend of sports.
All right, Dana, as always, we appreciate your time and everything that you guys do over there at 21 WFMJ, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Appreciate it. Have a great afternoon.
Dana Ballish, the sports director over at 21 WFMJ, joining us, and now we bring Ty back into the fold. And Ty, what were some of your takeaways from that conversation with Dana Ballish? And unfortunately, technical wise, you're just still not able to be a part of it. I feel bad, Ty.
No, I mean, it just Dana just gives a good level-headed response with everything too, and I mean that's always what you look for with Dana Ballish. He's a straight shooter, and he's got it right too. And I mean, a little bit hinted at what I said too with South Range and Garaway, and I mean you got to be looking for that too in this game against Kirtland, and I think same way in the reverse too. What Garfield was able to do against Kirtland defensively, I expect Coach Yeagley to see at least some of the scheme that Garfield was able to put out to keep Kirtland to such a low-scoring game.
I'm sorry, I wasn't slouched. The headphones went off in one ear, so I was just trying to wiggle the cord a little bit to bring my headphones back. But it's all right. We're all good. We'll get through even more glitch gremlins. We always get through them.
Yeah, no doubt.
No matter what. It was a great conversation with Dana Ballish, and we thank 21 WFMJ and all they do for our area.
Yeah, 21 WFMJ is honestly one of the best in local coverage too for news, sports, and everything. That we are so happy that we have them as our partners too, as we are the extension of local sports for WFMJ, and they're our partners too. That they help us too with some of the local sports coverage. So we really enjoy our partnership with.
You came up with the perfect tagline. If you're above 21,
it's a bust. Yeah, it's a bust.
It's a bust. So that's true, and we hold that true every day. Where we love our partnership, and everyone at WFMJ. Dana Ballish runs a great crew. So as we voyage on in this Monday edition of Running Point, Ty, let's talk about where these games will be. Dana kind of brought them up, but I want to go through where all these games will be taking place and get you set for the regional finals. As we pull this up, this can be found on ysnlive.com. We put out an article giving you a kind of a hub of where everyone will be. That way you can easily find where all the teams will be playing in the regional final. And as you look at it, like we said, it's all local. There's really not much travel. The furthest you have to travel if you wanted to go to every playoff game would be Marlington. And that's really, if you put a dot in the middle of YSN's coverage map, Marlington not extremely far away when you're in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no doubt. Marlington's not even that far, honestly. It's
you're from Venice. Shut up.
Yeah. I make 40-minute drives just to get into town, so I mean I'm used to driving a little bit anyway. So it's none of it's really bad driving times compared to last week. No, not especially if you're in the Valley.
So our only Friday night game is going to be in Division 4, Ursuline versus West Branch. That'll be Friday at 7 o'clock at South Range High School. Big venue in South Range. It gets to host a regional final. I'm sure that Donnie Farron and everyone over there was chomping at the bit when the OHSAA came and said, "Hey, you wanna host a regional final?" Well, yeah, I'll host a regional final.
Honestly,
if I do.
And I mean, it's great that it's hosted right in South Range too, not too far of a drive for Ursuline, or not really that bad of a drive if you're from West Branch either. So I mean, it's going to be a pretty fun matchup too, and local for a lot of people.
So a matchup in Canfield, but at South Range, in the city of Canfield at South Range High School.
But it's not South Range playing at South Range High School.
Because of that, reminder that the girls' game on Friday night that was scheduled against Salem is going to be postponed to a date to be determined. That is obviously due to they just don't. I think it's smart. You don't want all that mess in the same place at the same time. It would lead to parking difficulties, and
it would be a nightmare. I mean, it would just be a nightmare.
But then you look, and then I don't know if you've ever been to South Range. You look at it, and it's like initially you think there's not a lot of parking, but then you go behind, and there's parking in the elementary school, behind the high school and middle school.
No, I haven't been to South Range. There's kind of bars being put up on South Range for the announcers that are there. I can't get into the football realm. I can't get into basketball.
I'll say this: if you're not, I don't want never taking you away from a game that you're scheduled, because that would be bad. Because we want to cover everybody, we want to cover as many teams as possible. But if you ever want to come to a South Range game with me, when there's no other games that you can cover, you're more than welcome. The bars are up.
I just would love to come and just see the South Range gym more than anything, honestly.
I'll show you my name on the wall.
Yeah, there you go. You just want to go. You want me to come down there so you can float a little bit.
As you walk into the gym, you'll see my name on a plaque, and little claim to fame for Anthony Hartwig. Right
yeah, there you go. But now there's going to be some games that I'll be excited to see too. There's definitely some new schools on the schedule.
We are trying to finalize our schedule for this weekend, and it'll be out. We're definitely doing basketball this weekend. We're kicking off the girls' games this weekend. We have several games going on Friday and Saturday, so we're trying to kind of finalize our schedule before we commit to saying we're going to be here. We're going to be here. But I can tell you that these are the games that are going on Friday and Saturday, I believe. If I'm missing one, absolutely message us and let us know, because first week of the season, trying to get everyone scheduled, kind of lined up, it is crazy. But as far as Friday night, Howland is hosting Hoover. That's going to be a big matchup right off the gate for the Tigers. We haven't been able to talk to their coach yet, but they are returning a lot. And one of the ones that's really big and was on the volleyball team too. The name just went right. Oh, geez. Ty, you did their volleyball games too. 24, taller girl.
Courtney Clark?
No. The other one, the other big hitter for him.
Oh, who was the other one? Because I remember Courtney Clark. I'm trying to think of it. Give me a second.
Holy snot. I feel so terrible. You're going to look it up.
Yeah, I'm going to, because I can't. The name's slipping here right now.
Wait.
You said big hitter, and I knew Courtney Clark was one of them, but I can't think of the other one offhand.
It was her middle blocker, and I had it as soon as I was talking.
Jamie DeSalvo.
Thank you.
Jamie DeSalvo.
I had it when I started that sentence. I had it, and it just went right out. So
I think that one's like one of our games that's like, I'm pretty sure that one might be covered, though. I think that one right now is like 80% right now.
We'll probably be there. I could say that. We'll probably be there. Don't want to nail anything down yet. Friday also, Middlefield Cardinal going to Wyndham, and the Wyndham will have their home opener on Friday night. Lakeview going to East, and Sebring going to Camel. So those are all on Friday night for girls basketball. And Latonia also hosting Heartland Christian.
Yeah, no doubt, and we're always excited too to see our basketball coming right around the corner. It'll be here before we know it.
On Saturday, Garfield hosting West Branch. That'll be a big one as the G-men try to break the puzzle that is Walter Shields and the Warriors. We talked to Coach Gilbert earlier on the show earlier in the last couple of weeks that we've been doing basketball previews, and he's never beaten Walter Shields in his career as the head coach at Garfield. He wants to change that this year, opening the season at home against the Warriors.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is going to be a great game, too, and a great matchup for opening weekend basketball, and one that I think is going to be so exciting. And I think it's going to be one worth watching. I really do.
Sneaky competitive one as Girard goes to Champion on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You talk about Girard. We're going to talk to Coach Saxon this week off the air and debut it on the next day.
So I want to get this done because I got confirmation from our very own Quinn Pushkar that these games that we have are confirmed now. That Hoover at Howland is going to be broadcasted.
That's Friday night.
Crestview at Beaver Local. Mikey McKenzie's going to be out there. That's going to be out there. And I'm confirmed now for Cardinal at Wyndham on Friday night. So I will be at Wyndham for that Cardinal Wyndham matchup on Friday.
Yeah, there's all 3 games Friday night to add to our one playoff game for Ysn West.
And then going into Saturday, we have 2 confirmed games. 7 p.m. the Mooney at Columbiana game is confirmed. And then I will be at the noon West Branch at Garfield game.
There you go. We just talked about that matchup.
Yep. So we got these all confirmed, though. We wanted to make sure before. I said it's about 80% in the works, but we got all these confirmed. 5 games so far on the weekend on the network. And you know what? That Girard Champion game, if I was able to maneuver the 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. start, I'd make both of them.
I'll tell you, we might flip that one. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. If it was a 9 a.m. start, I might be able to pull it off, but the 10 a.m. start just makes it too risky.
Warren to Garrettsville would be a trek.
Yeah, no, it's too much of a trek too. Yeah, for that. But
back to that Champion Girard game that we were going to talk about before I was rudely interrupted by that confirmation.
Hey, we love to confirm things on the network.
Thank you so much to Quinn, who is working hard on making sure that we get games confirmed and everything. You'll look at Girard, and we're going to talk to Coach Saxon off the air later this week and then have him debut the next day. They have a lot of returning experience, and they're going to be a really solid team, a wild card in the N8. But then you look at Champion, and a lot of people will just say, okay, they lost Emma Gamont, so put them in the bag and roast it. But Coach Cole over there does a really good job of continuously rebuilding that program. They were in the regional semifinals 2 years ago. They were this close to winning a district last year. They just came a little bit short. It's going to be a good team. It's going to be a good opening day game, an opening morning game at 10 a.m. on Saturday in Champion.
Yeah, and we're going to be happy to be able to get that Girard Andrew Saxon interview before game day on Saturday. So that'll be exciting. That
we'll continue to work to get Champion too.
We're trying to. We are trying effortlessly to get all of our coaches too, and we would love nothing more to get Coach Cole too before that game, so we can have both that little preview for Champion and for Girard. I think the biggest question for Girard: how many of these girls from the volleyball season are now playing basketball? Because we know how success breeds success, and how much is that success going to carry over?
I'm not confirming because I haven't looked at their roster, but I don't believe they're big, like the big names from that Girard volleyball team play basketball. Unless they come out this year.
And it very well could be that. I mean, some schools, there's athletes that don't play that much of the basketball, but that's always interesting to see those athletes and how many multi-sport athletes there are, because usually success breeds success, and that's always a question.
Once again, this is just me trying to remember from last year, the couple games of Girard I called. I believe Allie Durkin plays basketball, their setter for Girard, as far as volleyball players. I believe Siebert, their senior middle blocker, plays. That's all that I know off the top of my head as far as volleyball players that also play basketball for Girard. Once again, freshmen withstanding and players that you obviously can come out at any time. So players that decide to come out this year also withstanding as well.
Yeah, and I mean this is going to be interesting too, and that's why we always like to do the meet the team questions too, because truthfully we don't know as far as season to season, because sometimes too kids just they decide not to play sports too, and they'll play a sport 1 year or 2 years and then they'll just decide to stop too. So it's always a good question to just kind of get an understanding too of what the team's looking like too.
That's why we will never assume someone's on the roster.
Yeah.
No.
We try not to assume that anybody's on the run.
We are not falling into that trap anytime soon. Another game on Saturday slate, by the way, Canfield opening the season on Saturday night, hosting Maslin Perry. Big matchup for Canfield, big measuring stick, because that's a big district Division I team that they're obviously going to probably see in the district tournament at some point, and they're opening the season by playing them.
Yeah, and that's going to be a heck of a matchup too to open up our opening weekend of basketball too, starting Friday, November 19th. So basketball season is here, and it is alive and well.
Hey, and you know what? On Friday, we'll pick all those games along with our playoffs because we promised we'd pick basketball, and we definitely will. So we're going to pick those games as well.
Yep, no doubt, and it should be an exciting season as it kicks off this week.
I think I have an advantage in girls basketball pick'em.
You'd be surprised. I've been around a lot last year too, man. I was around a lot.
No.
You.
I'm throwing out the gauntlet. Well, we'll work on a Skittles bet on.
Okay.
Who comes out the girls' side winners.
Okay.
That's one thing I put my.
You might have girls' sports and you might have women's sports. I appreciate that and I respect that, but you ain't coming into this basketball territory and like that. This line right here, basketball. I'm on the other side of it for a reason.
So I turned my volume up because only one ear was coming through, and for like a split second, the other ear came through, and I just got like
jolted.
I think I'm deaf.
Jolted.
Great. The kid that's legally blind and in a wheelchair just got deafened by the headphones. That's great.
There you are, Anthony.
It really, like, my ear feels popped. I can still hear you. So I'm not
Oh my God.
I'm not deaf, but like that feeling you get when your ear gets popped in a
I get what you mean, yeah.
airplane. It feels like that. Man, Mondays, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no doubt. But gonna be an exciting week for sports as we are.
And you know what?
Basketball, football still alive and well.
By the way, Friday is not your first taste of basketball on YSN. You know why? Because tonight there is not going to be a power hour because it is being replaced by EPYSA basketball, East Palestine Youth basketball for 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
Yeah, and that's going to be exciting too as basketball and the youth league start tonight.
Little taste.
Yeah, no doubt.
Until we get the high school girls on Friday night.
Yeah, and I mean, high school opening up this week is going to be exciting, and it's going to be a long and fun season for me, as I always look forward.
Does anyone else feel like this week is just in a drag? Because I'm so excited for basketball to get here. It's just going to be like, come on.
This is my favorite time of the year as far as high school sports is concerned. I can't wait for high school hoops to start.
Whew. It's going to be fun.
But then I'm a big baseball junkie as well, too. But, I mean, as far as calling sports and everything and just being at high school atmosphere, I always love high school basketball games, too. I don't think the energy of the gyms this year is going to be so much fun to get back to. And I was kind of missing that, too, last year. And all the schools I went to, I wanted to see these crowds and these student sections come out, and I'm excited. And that's why, I mean, I might, if I have the chance, I might revisit some schools I went to last year as well if the opportunity presents itself.
There were a couple of nights last year where, a game got really exciting or a player made a big play. And through the headphones of our we were like, oh man, they're getting loud. And then you look around, there's no one. So that's what makes me excited. Some of these gyms were able to get loud even with limited capacity. So if they bring that same vigor and energy to this season, which I think they should because they've been without it for a year. So fans should be amped to get back into basketball.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine how loud some of these gyms might get when you let everyone back in. Because they brought the energy in low capacity crowds last year at some places. I'm looking at you, Waterloo, and you know it as well as I do. I did a couple of Waterloo games. That place got nuts, and it was just like 15%.
They're gonna get insane too, and I know I'm gonna be on the schedule. I'll be seeing some Waterloo girls and Waterloo boys games this year, so I'll be.
Waterloo opens the season on the 30th, which is a week from Saturday. Hey, maybe Ty will be there.
You never know. You never know week to week. Of course, I also have my obligations with Fitch too. I will be at Fitch boys and girls home games as well this year, but it'll be a fun season too as we look forward to getting as much basketball coverage as we can. I think we did really well as a company last year as far as what we did coverage wise in winter sports and basketball in particular, and I think we are in store for another great season this year as well.
Chris Sigler with a great point that volleyball gave us a little bit of a idea of.
And here's the thing with volleyball too that's unfortunate. It's only one side, and the thing I like about basketball
for some,
a lot I should say, most of the ones that I went to at least this year.
That's not fair. You only went to Fit.
No, I didn't. But no, I mean, when you get into the playoffs, obviously there's gyms with both sides. But I mean, the ones that with basketball too, a lot of them are going to be both sides too. And basketball is a really personable sport too, because even in volleyball, the lines are a little bit in from where the basketball is. Like you're right there in some of these gyms, right up on the action too. Out of bounds, you're literally standing right on the out of bounds line or sitting right on the out of bounds line. It's a very personable sport, and I think that's kind of the intrigue with it that doesn't present itself. And I mean, I'm not dissing football and I'm not dissing volleyball with it, but volleyball, it's like, yeah, the lines are kind of in, but everyone's kind of set in this box. Where football, obviously, you're on a field, you're pretty far away from the action, but basketball gives that personal feel to it, I feel like too. And then, you know, every sport I think presents its unique fan experience, honestly.
That's very true.
Because I mean,
to your point, a lot of volleyball gyms do the one-sided thing, so it's hard to get a grip on the atmosphere because the acoustics are different. A lot of the noise is coming from one side of the gym. This sounds a little bit different, but Chris Sigler's right as well. I mean, the atmosphere that we saw in some of these volleyball matches, especially in the tournament, gives us a little bit of taste of what we're going to see for basketball.
And in spring sports too, it's always interesting when you go baseball, softball, because the fans can be right up there on the fence too.
It is whatever. I mean, like,
they can go anywhere, and that's what's interesting too, especially if it gets
the guts of baseball fans to be standing down the foul line. I'll never understand. Like in the fence, it's like this high, and you're just standing there like chilling. I'd be like, no, I don't want to die today, so I'm not gonna stand right behind that fence.
And I mean, there's so many different views with baseball and softball that you can get that you see a whole different part of the game too. It's like,
I would never see a ball coming if I was in that spot. Like it would be over. I'd see it when it's like, it's like, oh, there, boom. Anthony's dead and
can't even get a hand up to block it.
No, it would be over unless unless like my body has this like secret kung fu reaction that only comes out in life or death situations that I don't know about, then I would be hosed so bad.
But no doubt, I mean, I like though every single sport and how they prevent.
I came close last year, and I sit behind home plate and look with a big fence, and there was a pop up that came up. I don't remember where it was at, but I'm like looking up and I'm like, there's no way. This fence, there's no way it's that.
Boxing Park is like
I would have to have the worst luck ever, and it comes up and it hits like 5 feet behind me. I go, oh my!
Boxing Park is like that. You'll be in any of the fields 1 to 3, and any of the press boxes will clunk right off of the roof of all of them.
You know where was it? Because Chris Sigler, seeing his name, it was at United softball game. Because you have to sit a little bit further back from the field because it's like I can't remember if it was a hill. But I was sitting on a picnic bench or a picnic table that's like, I don't know, here to the office doors to the fence behind home plate, and this girl pops it up straight back, foul, and I'm looking and I'm like, my luck is not that bad, and then it bounces like 5 feet behind me. I'm like, oh, well, guys, the broadcast keeps going.
Yeah, no doubt, but. Exciting times. Basketball opens up, and we see Chris Sigler.
Basketball can get dangerous too. Like, let's not.
I've had basketballs come and take out my tripod before. I've had basketball players take out my tripod. I've had
volleyball. You're pretty safe after warm-ups. Like warm-ups is a free for all. You better get in front of the camera because you're gonna get hit. Like protect the equipment during volleyball warm-ups. Basketball, you're pretty safe during warm-ups. You have to watch out during the game. I mean, it's completely flipped. Especially
Being at Fitch too, where we're at the scorers table, and you'll get either the ball or you'll get a.
Remember, Anthony's always on the floor, so there's no like, hey, put Anthony up in the mezzanine, he'll be fine. No, Anthony's always on the floor on the baseline, so Anthony's always in danger.
At Fitch, I usually am too. I'm usually right at that scorers table. So
I feel like that kid in the Simpsons episode where he's sitting on the bus and he's like, haha, I'm in danger. That's me during every basketball game.
But I'm excited for it. I know Chris Segler's excited for it. I know the Segler family is excited for basketball season.
Chris is going to be like on every United home game, hopefully. Like,
I know it. I know they're going to be excited. A lot of people are excited.
I can steal one away from him because I'm really excited to do a United game this year, or do one with him. Like I'll do one with Chris.
I might too. I mean, if it presents itself, I mean,
it's fine. I just keep claim to it. You stay away.
Oh, Chris can only have Anthony now for every United game. he can't ask anybody else.
I claimed it. It's mine.
You can't ask anybody else.
No.
But no, there's plenty of games I think that should be exciting too. So I think there's going to be a lot, especially in these first couple of weeks, that are going to be really fun.
I'm excited for your game. I'm jealous you get to do it. West Branch Garfield. That's going to be a knockdown, drag-out matchup.
And you know what? Having both coaches on too, both Coach Gilbert and Coach DeShields on, that's going to be great too. And you know what? We might do something nice for you. We might even air both of those on before the game start at noon. So maybe coverage will start at 11:30, and we'll have both of those interviews on beforehand.
You get to see that nice gray Garfield floor for the first time.
So excited to see that. That's what really made me. That was the selling point for it too. I hear Garfield West Branch. I was like,
basketball.
I hear Garfield West Branch, and I was like, okay. And then they said at Garfield, so I could see that. Yeah. And I was like, all right, that's it. That's for sure.
Lock it down, Quinn. Lock it down.
Yeah, no doubt. But no, that's going to be an exciting game too, and I could cross Garfield off my my list of schools visited. Then, and that's going to be one, and Wyndham this week too. I'm excited. Friday it starts with Wyndham, Cardinal at Wyndham, and that's going to be fun as well.
You know, and I'm excited to kind of run out the Ysn red carpet for Badger because we signed Badger during the football season, and now basketball is going to be here. We're going to be able to cover Badger. We're going to have their boys coach, Josh Upshire, on not this Friday, but next Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and he'll preview Badger's boys season. We're trying, as we always do, we'll try to get their girls coach on as well, but I'm excited to kind of roll out the red carpet for Badger and get them some coverage on Ysn as well.
As Badger kind of breaks us into some new kind of territory in the state too, and that's going to be exciting.
They're in the PTC, is that it?
I might need to freaking book a hotel if I'm going to visit Badger. I'm pretty sure they're like an hour and 40 from me. So
just do a Saturday game, you'll be fine.
If I want to check off Badger off my list, I need to make sure I have some reservations to be down there.
That'll be a day where we can just do Running Point live from Badger. And make it
might have to, yeah.
Make a day out of it. You know, I still want to do some Running Points live from some games. That would be fun.
Like I said, we might have to. I've put it in the can though, but I mean, we've thought about doing that for wrestling too, and that might be the time to do Running Points live if we can. Is just to do it occasionally at one of those wrestling tournaments.
That's a great thing. I mean,
and they have the big one.
Like we can with this setup and with StreamYard. We can do Running Point from almost anywhere as long as we have internet connection and a camera and a microphone and a soundboard.
Yeah, I mean we got it taken care of.
Which really at the end of the day, every announcer has in their bag. So I mean, we get to set up OBS and just like we do here and run it through StreamYard and boom, we could be Running Point from anywhere. We could be Running Point from 2 games. I could be in one gym, you could be in another one.
And there's going to be so many games next week too. Boys basketball opens up next week too. So, oh my God, that's going to be exciting. Girls basketball going into next week. There's a lot of great games too. Canfield goes to West Branch next Tuesday.
Reminder while you're watching these schedules and you're looking at some boys' schedules, we just talked to Coach Wise, and he pointed out that Garfield's game had to be pushed back. Some of these early season matchups that were on boys' schedules originally might have to be pushed back if the team's football team is still playing or played this week. So just keep an eye on that. We'll stay updated as well and keep everyone updated. But just want to remind people to not pin themselves to schedules that they found 2 or 3 weeks ago, because things can change. We see that with South Range girls, and we see that with a couple of boys games that are getting pushed back due to teams having football teams in the playoffs.
And you know what, too? I mean, there's plenty of games, though, that I would think are going to get off next Friday, too. And, I mean, just to look at some of the boys' games that are going to be opening off, too. I mean, like we said, I think Waterloo at Garfield is going to be interesting, too. Boys basketball.
Yeah, that'll be Saturday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. 30th is Saturday.
No, this one's Friday. This is at Garfield. This is boys.
Or Coach Wise said that one's on half.
Oh, yeah, that one did get pushed back. You're right. No, Sebring at Latonia, Maslin Perry at Louisville. These are going to be some great games. Cheney at Fitch is going to be real fun too. Yeah, that's me. Marlington at Canfield is going to be another one. That's always going to be fun, I think, boys-wise, because Marlington always puts up an athletic team, and Canfield should be good this year as well. That's actually going to be a fun game as well. There's a lot of games that I think should be interesting on the network for boys as well.
It's coming. Girls, boys, it's coming.
It is for sure.
But we still have football to get through too. That's what I love about this time of year. We still
had soccer up until this Saturday. I mean, we had soccer.
RSP was so close. Oh, it hurts.
Oh my goodness! And I mean, almost completed it too. Volleyball went pretty far. Both, what was it? Wellsville went really far for us.
Wellsville went to the regional final, and Crestview was
that close.
By the way, Independence went to the state championship again, lost again. So they are 3 times in a row in the state championship and losing. It's got to be heartbreaking for those seniors to keep getting right there and not being able to finish the job.
Yeah, honestly, heart goes out to them. But yeah, I mean, we're very happy with all the teams and how many sports so far.
Did we get through all these games and where they'll be? I don't think we did. Okay, so I think we got caught up talking after the West Branch game. That will be at South Range on Friday. So then you go to Saturday's games. South Range will be playing Kirtland. That will be on Saturday at 7 o'clock. That's going to be played at Niles. So Bo Ryan Stadium in Niles, South Range squaring up with Kirtland. Usually Kirtland gets the benefits in these travels, but South Range, they get the nod. They're a little bit closer to Niles than Kirtland is.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's familiar territory, too. I mean, for South Range, they play there every single year. They know the NE8. I mean, I know every football field, the dimensions are the same, but I mean, still, it does you well to be familiar with the territory you're playing in.
Division 6, Springfield versus Mogador. That'll be Saturday at 7 o'clock. That's going to be played at Salem High School.
Another one where you're pretty familiar with the territory and not a far drive at all for Springfield, as right there in Salem too. So, I mean, really good travel times for a lot of the YSN teams.
Good travel times for the YSN announcers too.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure they're happy about that.
Division 7, JFK will be playing Dalton. I got to say it right. I got yelled at last year by Dalton fans during a basketball game. Dalton, Saturday at 7 o'clock. At Marlington High School. So that's the furthest travel, but even that's just an alliance.
Yeah, and that should be a fun matchup too, as it's 3 versus 4, Dalton versus JFK.
I do want to clarify that it is at Marlington High School, because I saw some people on the internet or some people on social media were putting alliance because it's Alliance Marlington. And that can confuse some people into thinking
there's an alliance. There's the Aviators and the Dukes.
It's not at Alliance High School. It is at Marlington High School, which is in Alliance. So don't get that confused. And please don't show up to the wrong spot. You'll be embarrassed, and we'll have to make fun of you for the next 2 years. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, I think there's some new cases going on around the office right now that I think I'm off the hook is what I got to. I think I'm past the
maybe not in my eyes, but
maybe not in your eyes. From some of the other ones though, I'm off the hook for right now.
That's just because I get the opportunity to poke jabs at you every day, so I got to find something. By the way, your Springfield, the one that you actually went to, is still in the playoffs too. Division I Springfield in the Division I playoffs.
That's incredible too. I mean, it's one of those too. If I showed up, I wish I would have just gotten them to sign on. That's the only thing I wish. If I would have came back with them signed on, I think that would have been great.
That would have like made everything okay. If you came back and said this team is signed with YSN, I got them. You'd be like, cool, good job. You missed the game, but you got us a big team in Division I. So yeah, Dalton playing KFK. That'll be at Marlington High School. All games will be broadcasted on ysnlive.com. $9.99 gets you access to every game on that evening. Playoffs wise, reminder on these like Friday night and Saturday, the basketball is free. So if you just want to watch basketball, you can just watch basketball. But playoff games will be $9.99.
Yeah, and I mean the one is gonna be great too. At $9.99 get you that regional final, Ursuline versus West Branch, and that's gonna be a great matchup in of itself for Friday night. So I wouldn't want to miss that one. And of course Saturday night you get a little bit of a bang for your buck as far as football is concerned with a trifecta of South Range versus Kirtland, Springfield and Mogador, and JFK and Dalton.
We've had a lot less people have problems with this. Hopefully it's because we're reminding people. But when you go to ysnlive.com and you go to the team page to purchase your ticket, scroll past the sponsors. You'll see the video player that you always see for live games. At the top of it, there will be a green button that says "Get your virtual tickets now" and $9.99. Click on that. If you are asked to pay anything other than $9.99 plus maybe some tax or whatever, it is not us. Don't pay for it. Stay away. There are other things that you can accidentally click on that might be subscribing you to other services or whatever. Not us. If it's not $9.99, if it's not $9.99, I hate this. If it's not $9.99, enunciate, Anthony. $9.99. It's not us. So if you're being asked to pay, like, we got one message saying they were getting charged like $30 a month. Like, there's no subscription. It's this one-time thing. All right, we're not Fubo TV.
Yeah, we're not charging you $30 a month. We're not doing at-home ads, and we don't have live TV on ads on that. So we don't pay subscription packages. Yet.
So just want to remind people, if it's not $9.99, I said it right this time. It's not us. I'm so proud of myself. We're going to take one more quick break and be back up to wrap up this edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Don't go anywhere. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience, WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealth.com. Good luck, athletes.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we come back to wrap up this Monday edition of Running Point. And we want to thank the coaches that were able to come on today. We thank Jason Wise, the head coach of the boys basketball program at Waterloo. And we thank Will Klusinek, the head coach of the South Range boys, the new head coach of the South Range boys, taking over from the legend himself, John Cullen, who spent 8 years with the Raiders. So we thank him for coming on as well. Tomorrow on Running Point, lot to get to. Ty, you want to break down the coaches we have confirmed for the people out there? Ty, you are muted.
Looking at the coaches we have for tomorrow, kicking off the show at 12, it's Bernard Scott from Ursuline Girls Basketball. Stephen Procopio at 12:15 with Jackson Milton Boys Basketball. Dolph Carroll from Valley Christian Boys at 12:30 for that. And then Kevin Haney, I believe is how we pronounce his last name, from Lakeview Girls Basketball. And he, of course, will be coming on the show at 1:30.
That'll be big. Lakeview opens the season Saturday at East, so it'll be good to talk about their opening day matchup with him and how the Bulldogs will shape out. It's going to have a lot to do with Maggie Polanski, I'll tell you that much right now.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a fun time, no doubt.
So we will be back tomorrow from 12 to 2. Casual Sports Podcast going to be up next from 2 to 3. And then EPYSA Basketball at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Reminder, no power hour today because of that. Power hour will return to its normal time tomorrow. But tonight, EPYSA Basketball at 3 and 4 on YSN. Me and Ty, we're taking a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 to 2.